Okay, cool. So, good to be here. And today I'm going to be making a CSS framework. So, if you're interested in CSS and making it simpler, that's what I'm here to do. So, yeah, let's actually start with, I think we need some kind of uh, outline of what I'm thinking, where we're going. So I'm gonna sign into Figma. Probably reveal my passwords while I do that. That's a nice font. I like this font. Oh, it's just an image. Yeah, that's just a video. That's so silly. Okay, cool. So let's see if I can log in here without revealing any of my passwords. I think I just typed in the master password wrong. Nope, got it. Cool. Please fill in without showing any passwords. There we go. Oh my goodness. Why did it do that? I just want to sign in, dude. Okay. Here we go. Second try. Okay, there we go. So now we're logging in to Figma, and all I have to do is open up a new design file. And we're going to use this as kind of like a brainstorming spot for the CSS framework. So last time we were talking about landing pages, and I really want this to be like a landing page CSS framework. So let's put that as our goal. So I'm going to make actually a new source. I'm going to call this, this is going to be, can I just do text? I don't know what, GDI plus scares me a little bit. I don't know what that means. So we're going to do title, subtitle, title, I think is fine. Subtitle's fine too. I have no idea what one to use. Sure, we're just going to use this, and we're going to say, hey, what are we doing? We are designing CSS framework for landing pages. Just to like really hone in on something, so we're not. Wow, this is so laggy. Just so we're not like trying to do everything at once, right? So we are just designing a CSS framework for landing pages. Nothing else, nothing fancy, okay? Because landing pages are pretty simple, right? They're mostly just boxes. You have some boxes up here for the nav. You have like a box over here and a box over here. These could be interpreted as boxes right here. You definitely have boxes right here. You have some more boxes right here. And then, I don't know, these are like long rectangles, but pretty much boxes. Then you got some more boxes, some more boxes, some more boxes, and finally a final box. So it's like, yeah, you need good typography for a landing page, but it's mostly just boxes. So we're probably going to call this CSS framework boxes. Okay, so I have a few by enabling hardware acceleration. Let's do that because I'm going to want to do it at some point. Use hardware acceleration where available. So we're just going to my settings, scroll down. I think it's an advanced hardware acceleration where available. And we're going to relaunch Chrome. That should just take a second. Throw Chatty in the trash because we already have it pinned to our taskbar. Close our settings, and Figma should not complain anymore. And we should rename this file because it shouldn't be called untitled anymore. It should be called boxes.css, I think. I don't know. What do you guys think about that name? Actually, yeah, I'm connected to chat. Okay, so if anyone joins, wants to let me know if they like the name boxes.css or not, yeah, feel free to chime in. Another TV viewer. I think you're a bot, but if you're, just in case you're not, welcome to the chat. Boxes.css. So we are going to add really quickly just a library. This is just a set of colors that I like. So now we got the colors. And we're going to think about the nav first. So we're going to have like a logo, right? I actually don't know how to move here. How do I move? I guess I can zoom in and zoom out. I guess this is fine. Okay, yeah. I don't know. I think it's different on a Mac. But maybe not. Maybe. Yeah, I don't ever remember pressing the hand tool on a Mac. I think that's the default, but I don't know. I'm not sure. Okay, so anyways, so we have the nav, and this is usually like a really long line, right? And actually, let's I think what's gonna work better for this, I don't know. It could be opacity. Yeah, let's use opacity. I don't like borders that much, so let's use opacity. Actually, let's use a different color just to like brighten up our lives here. Okay, so we'll use this, and we'll use, but we'll unlink it, and we're gonna use like, I guess, 30% opacity, something like that, so that we can like stack things on top of this and it'll look good. I think we can even get away with 20. Yeah, 20% opacity is fine. And then I wonder how to make this the default style for rectangles. This is something I should know how to do. I guess it's probably in this menu, object maybe, add auto layout, create component, main component uses mask, how to make it the default, no idea. Okay. I like how like Google Docs has like a help menu where you can search, and then they'll just pop up whatever you need. Okay, so it's probably under style of some kind. Vector. Object. I would think it'd be under object maybe. Okay, let's look it up. Figma, default, style, rectangle. Okay, this is gonna be good to know. Okay, blah 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 blah. Edit, set default properties. Perfect. Okay. Here we go. Edit, set default properties. Perfect. Okay, so now when I create a rectangle, it's gonna have this opacity and this blue color. So now we have this nav at the top. We're gonna have a logo here. We might. Hey, Strawberryos, welcome to the chat. Thank you for following. I really appreciate it. So we have a logo here. Then we might have some links next to it, right? So let's just pretend we have a few links next to the logo. We're probably going to want to just separate these a little bit just to make it obvious they're separate components. And then we're going to have some links over here. And the nav's probably going to be bigger, but we'll just leave it like this for now. And these are how far apart? 10. So we're just going to make sure I keep hitting the Windows key because I'm not used to it. Draclin, welcome. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for coming. Really appreciate it. I do keep hitting the Windows key. I am used to a Mac, but I will get used to that in 2 seconds. Okay, cool. So yeah, so on a landing page, we're going to have some stuff on the left, some stuff on the right? And they're mostly going to be boxes. Now, here's the thing. We're going to have text probably in most of these, right? So let's pretend we've got I guess like a login and sign up button. And the text is going to be a lot bigger than that, you know, relative to the whole thing. So let's pretend it's like that. It's probably not that big. Um, but let's say we have these. Now what I wanted to do originally is I wanted to have these all just be boxes. So these are 269 by 131. What if they were all just 269 by 269, right? Wouldn't that be kind of interesting? Maybe not, right? But let me explain. So if they are boxes, so they're 269 by 269, let's just pretend this is a box. It's 269 by 267. Then everything can be a box, right? Then we can have the logo be a box. We can have each link be a box. We can have each section be a bigger box. But it doesn't really work because nav links are usually not boxes. So I decided against it just because of that. So long story short, we're not doing all boxes, but I want to still stick with that concept of like, okay, let's try to keep it as simple as possible. So I think what we're going to have is just rectangles and boxes, and the rectangles are going to have an automatic amount of padding. So here in Figma, we can create something with with an auto layout. And forgive me if I'm not great at this, but yeah, so this gives us an auto layout with, oh great, our first ban. Okay, cool. So we're gonna just ban this person. How do I ban people? I always forget how to ban people. There we go. Okay, so yeah, so now we have this box. So we have this frame, and we have login inside of that. So yeah, so this is going to be one of the components, right? So we have a frame with some padding on it, and I don't know. This is like a fine amount of padding for now. We'll probably change this down the road. But basically, as this expands, right, we're gonna expand the box, and the idea is that as the boxes grow, so like we're gonna have some like larger size boxes for for other types of content, right? So like if we go back to this landing page example, we have like this box over here. This is going to be a larger box, and so it's going to have a larger amount of padding. Okay, so let's see how that looks, or how that might look, right? So then we're going to select the frame, and we'll change the padding on this. So for now, let's just double it. So we're just going to do like 46. I wonder if I can do, because I don't want to do math right now, if I can do 2 times 2 in there. I can. That's pretty cool. Times 2. And we're going to do times 2 there. Okay, cool. So now we've doubled all the paddings. And so this is just kind of the basic idea, right? So we have this type of box that's like a large content box that might take up like half the page. And then we have the smaller box that is used for like links. And I think that's like a lot of what we need for like a simple CSS framework. We'll also need some kind of non-padding boxes, right? Because we're going to have our logo. So if we create a rectangle again and have our logo up here, this is you're gonna want this to be like an SVG probably, right? So you're gonna want that SVG to expand to the full width. So you're not gonna want to have any padding on this. So let's add a note about that. This is gonna be like a no padding media box. And we'll decrease the font size there. And then we're gonna have a, wow. So I wanna Alt, click, drag, there we go. Okay, and then this is going to be an auto padding, text box. And now I think the question is, okay, yeah, and the other thing we want is like really good typography. So I'm gonna just put this, I'm gonna like have like a little like specification section up here. Specification. And we're gonna say, okay, types of boxes, and then just like, I guess, guidelines, or let's just say rules, right? Let's be bold about it. Okay, so rules, and we're going to say, the rules is, yeah, we have to have a good foundation, which means like impeccable typography. And we can steal this. I don't care about stealing this from another CSS framework. I know there's like, I think Gutenberg CSS. I think this is a thing. Gutenberg. Yeah, here we go. A meaningful web typography starter kit. So yeah, they pay a lot of attention to having everything line up. It's really pretty nice. And I wouldn't mind just taking this. I mean, it's not like this isn't, welcome Ahmed Hisham. Really appreciate you joining the chat. Let me know if you have any questions. We're building a CSS framework for landing pages, because landing pages only have a very limited amount of types of elements. So, and I want to build landing pages really quickly. So yeah, so anyways, Gutenberg's pretty cool. I think that it's probably been updated recently. Let's look at it real quick. Nope, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, okay. But that being said, typography probably doesn't, okay, change that much. Yeah, 2016. So we could use this, or we could use something like it, right? But let's close that for now. So we do want really, really good typography as a foundation, because when it comes down to it, let's actually open Gutenberg back up for a second. When it comes down to it, like your landing page could look like this, right? With just like a single column layout. And you can still convert a lot of people, because it's mostly about the story you're telling. Obviously, you probably want a few images. You know, if you're releasing a software product, you want, you know, a few code examples. But as long as your headings make sense to people and are compelling, it doesn't really matter what type of layout you have, right? So if we go to like, I don't know, the Stripe landing page, which is always held up as like this impeccably designed, really, really nice landing page. Wow, look at that. They like have a design for the ultra wide, right? Like I've never seen this. This actually expands. Juiced Chur, welcome to the chat. Really appreciate that you're here. So yeah, so they have like multiple columns here. They have a bunch of different, this is such a beautiful site. It's like crazily beautiful. But yeah, they got a lot of stuff going on here, right? And you don't really need that. Like it's great. It's great if you do have it, and we want to have a lot of ability to like create these different columns and everything. But you do not need an advanced layout. So yeah, let's actually include this in our spec, in our hypothesis. So we're going to have like a hypothesis section here, which is that like you don't need a fancy layout to sell something. You just need good copy, and that's just good text. I don't know. I don't know why I call it copy. I think marketing people call it copy, but you just need good text or good writing, I guess, is maybe the better way to say that. So that's why we're going to focus on typography, and then we want a few different types of boxes. So we are, I think, going to have rows. We're going to have and I'll explain that in a second, why we need rows. Because I would really like to do without rows, but I think we need rows. We need rows. We need, I would say like alignment here, but that's too broad. I only want certain types of alignment, so I'm actually not going to put that yet. So we have rows. We have media boxes, and this just basically means no padding. That's really what it means, is that they just don't have any padding around them. And if you guys are curious, like, okay, who is this guy designing the CSS framework? You know, who is he to be building a CSS framework? I've built a lot of CSS frameworks. I've worked with CSS for the past 12 years. I've dealt with a lot of like the, you know, small use cases, the like detailed use cases, the buggy stuff, the really like minute details. So I am on a Windows system right now, which means everything will look a little bit uglier. But I do have a lot of experience in this field. So yeah, follow me for that, right? You can get some more insight into CSS and how to build things with CSS as we go along. Okay, so we're gonna have media boxes. That basically just means no padding. It might mean something else, but I don't really think so. And then we're gonna have, I think we're gonna have like auto padding, auto width, auto height, rectangles, which are basically for, and let's actually put this part in parentheses, because that's kind of the technical specification. And we're going to say this is just like for text content. I guess like it's mostly text links now that I think about it. So it's for the nav. So let's actually put nav. What else can I think of that wants to be like that? We don't need the footer links to be like that. Oh, we maybe want there to be like some, like if we're mentioning features in the middle of the page. I don't know if this page has that. But like something like this. Like these are boxes, right? And these are all the same width. So we could just do it with that. I'm thinking this might just be useful for the nav only. But I've seen, let's actually go to a couple more pages. So we have Tailwind. Let's also go to that podcasting. What is that podcasting? Oh, I always forget the name of the like indie maker who's making a podcasting app. And they're doing pretty well, but I always forget what they're called. Podcasting services. Okay, but they're always mentioned in like the top 10 lists or usually they are. Unless, yeah, transistor, here we go. Why would you have, I mean, it's just so hard to remember that because it has nothing to do with audio. Okay, so here, yeah. Let's see. So, do we have any? Yeah, there's no examples of text right next to each other besides the nav. That needs to respond to its own content width, which is what makes me just want to do boxes everywhere. Like it's the same width boxes. Okay, this isn't a landing page. Let's look at Tailwind. Wow. I wonder how they do this. They need to add a little bit of JavaScript for this, right? Unless this is just like an infinite number of, but let's worry about that later. Okay, so yeah, okay, here's an example where they just stack things next to each other. And it's not like a fixed width, right? That's so beautiful. So yeah, anyways, it's not a fixed width. It's the width of the content within it. So that's an example if you want like some nav things. I don't really think that's necessary, but god damn, this website makes it feel necessary, don't they? But yeah, I don't think it's necessary for what I'm doing. Oh wow. This is so cool. Like how much thought went into this website. Jeez. Okay, cool. So, yeah, so I guess it's mostly for navs. And we could use our little nav component on these. So we could make these too. Is there any other place that having text that auto expands is useful? Not really. Okay, well that's unfortunate. But I think we still want it. Okay, so we're gonna have, this is mostly for nav. These are auto padding, let's say actually width based on content, and height based on content. And then we'll just do dash dash rectangles. Okay. So that's the second type, and now we're going to have another type of element, which I think are going to be, so I don't think, let me just, let me figure this out for a second. So I think I want something like a box. I'm not sure if I want this to have like a sub, to be able to have a sub box in it. If we delete this, and we have, yeah, I guess I do want it to be able to have a subbox in it. But I think, let's see, I don't want these to be frames. I don't know why, oh geez. Yeah, let's get rid of this as a frame, for now. And let's just make a rectangle. Because frames like want to have things inside of them, and that's annoying for what I'm doing. Okay, so we're gonna have like one box that's half, and let's just cut down on the width a little bit, just so we can have some space in between these to tell them apart. Okay, so we're gonna have half and half, and the question is, do we also want ones that are half of these? And I think the answer to that is yes. So we're gonna have something like that, okay? So we have, this is half of the page, and then we have, oh my goodness, why didn't these line up? Line up. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, just so we have a little space between these. What is going on with this? Group and align left. Okay, perfect. And align right. And ungroup and align right. Okay, cool. So now we have these half boxes. So now I want to kind of go into the width of this. So you'll notice that like on most landing pages, even the striped landing page, they have a container, right? So even though they are adapting to an extra wide monitor, which is beautiful, I appreciate that they did that. They still have this like container here. And I want to see how large their container is, because I'm thinking mine is going to be 1280, but you can't go wrong with copying Stripe, or at least just getting some inspiration from them, right? Okay, so section layout container. This is actually a width of 1080. So they don't even go to 1280, which is what I was thinking about doing. They go to 1080. That's interesting. And what happens if I go below, so right now, we're at 1280. So what happens if I go below 1080? They don't care. They don't care, they don't care, they don't care until I go below some amount, and then everything's going to shift. So actually I'm at 930 right now, and they've still pretty much kept the exact same layout. Yeah, they've kept the exact same layout. Very cool. Is this globe squished? This globe is just squished. Okay. Yeah, let's go down a little bit more. Let's see where things shift. Let's actually get one of their, oh, here we go. So this is one that shifts. So this shifts at about 900. Yeah. And they shift into a single column layout here. Okay. But just for these sub items, right? They still have 2 columns here. Okay. And then when do they get rid of their 2 columns? Let's bring back the dev tools, just so we can see the width of the page as we resize. Wow, my computer's slow. I don't know why it's slowed down so much from streaming. Okay, so anyways, we're gonna see when this switches. So really, we're at 708 right now, and they still are like very attached to their 2 columns. So did these used to be, these close to the metal ones, did that used to be, yeah, those all used to be next to each other. Okay, so around 900, I bet, is when these, yeah, around 900 is when they stack on top of each other, but they still have the 2 columns all the way down to, we're at 650 now. I bet it's at 640. That would be my guess. No, they keep it. They keep it. They keep the 2 columns. Okay, and down to 600. So they're using 900 and 600. And let's see these columns up here. So these are their, I bet it's the same, right? But let's just see. So if we go back up above 600, yep, they switch into their two columns. Um, okay, so yeah, so for ours, I'm fine with that. 900 and 600, it sounds fine. I was going to use 1024. Um, hey, Academy Impossible. Welcome to the stream. Really appreciate you being here. So I was going to use 1024 and 640, which is actually pretty similar to what Stripe does. But 900 and 600 is fine for me too. I wonder if they actually, I'm very curious about this. Do they switch at 900? Or do they switch at 899? I really want to know about that. So we have 898, 900, okay. 900, we have the full layout. Pretty much no changes. Pretty much no changes. We have these next to each other. We have all the four next to each other. Wow. Okay. Very, very cool. Very, very cool. I like it. Okay, so that's at 900. Then at 899, they're gonna switch the layout. So basically, they have something to say. Okay, 900 and above, we have all these styles. Then at 899, they switch. Can I window inner width? Can I can set this, right? To 899. No. I don't think that did anything. I think it set it, but I don't think it did anything to my window. I don't know. I don't think it did. Let's try one more time. Yeah, okay. So you can't set it that way. Okay, and then yeah, the next question is, so I would guess, based on the way they did it at 900, that they do the same thing as 600. So if we go to exactly 600, exactly 600, come on, it's so hard. Then we see they still have the two columns. If we go to 599, then they switch to the single column layout. Okay, cool. So I'm okay with that, if you guys are okay with it. So the idea would be, so yeah, let's talk about media queries. So we're gonna say responsive rules for boxes. So we're gonna say, so there's two, so yeah, there's this type of box, which I believe is going to try to act like a square. Okay, so then we're going to call these layout boxes. The large ones try to act like squares. I don't know if that's right. The reason why I like it is because if we go to some of these examples we have, at the top of the page, we have this, right? Where you have a little space above, a little space below, and the question is, how do we define that? Well, we could have some padding on the top and some padding on the bottom, or we could make it act like a square. And if you look at this one, for example, this kind of behaves like a square. It's not half though. It's actually very interesting how, I guess this one doesn't do it, but And Tailwind doesn't do it either. But this one uses 2/3 of the width for the text. And so does Stripe. Um, hmm. Yeah. So I kind of just wanted boxes. I think I still do, but I'm not. It's just making me doubt it a little bit. So I kind of just wanted 2 boxes that would like be both 50% width, and then we could put boxes inside of them that would both be 50% width, and that's it. You know, call it a day. um, and they would try to act like squares, so they would have. I think we can do aspect ratio in CSS on most browsers. I know we can do it, but I don't know how well supported it is. Okay, everyone but Internet Explorer. So I'm fine with using it. So yeah, we'd have something like, I mean, it wouldn't be 1-to-1, but it would pretty much be 1-to-1, and it would make it look like a square. Oops. And so we would have blah blah blah. This, we would have this be like a square. Then your next section would have to be like a square too. So like this would be a square. And you could define, yeah, you could define, I guess if it's a square, it's always the same size, right? So going down the page, you would only have squares. So this is just an idea. This isn't, I'm just kind of brainstorming here. So all of your sections would be in squares, and then you could have like some sub-squares. So like, for example, you might have this box thing. Split into 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so it's whatever. I'm gonna just expand this. I don't care if they're exact boxes. This is just like an illustration, right? Okay, so then you would have this. I don't think you can get, I don't want it to get deeper than that. But the question is, do we use squares with exact heights, and then you have to fit the content into the box? Which I kind of like, because I think all creativity requires restrictions. It requires limitations. So if we just said, yeah, you got a square to work with, you know, fill it up as much as you can or you want, and you can't go beyond the square. And if there's extra space left over in the square, then it's just extra space. It's just there. I like that idea. I really like that idea. Because I feel like right now, you could do anything with CSS, right? You can do a square, you can do a rectangle, you can do a circle, you can do a square inside a square inside a square inside a square, or whatever, right? The possibilities are infinite. But if you limit layout at the highest level to just being one shape, and then you have to work with that, it creates some interesting things where now you're not thinking, oh, maybe we do a heading with a subheading with a little picture. No, you're thinking, oh, I've got these 4 squares to work with. Like, that's all I have. Like, I'm going to put a title and some text in there because, like, that's all that's going to fit, and they all need to look the same. You don't get something like Stripe where, I mean, they're a multi-billion-dollar company, right? So you know, if you're just building a product, you really shouldn't be aiming for Stripe, in my opinion. You don't get something like Stripe where they have, oh, this type of box thing, and then they have another weird section, and then they have like another type of box with these like sub boxes. I guess the question would be, right? Do I allow? I think I would allow this, right? Where you could. Let's delete this guy on the left and copy this over here. Where you could have content up here, expand to the full width, and then have two boxes down here. So then you could do something like this layout, right? So you'd have some nice typography with followed by a button, and then you'd have two boxes. But you wouldn't have more than the box, right? If you go beyond the content of the box, you're dead. The text is going to overlap something else. I like it. I don't know if it's going to be the end of me, but I like it. These all feel like boxes right here, right? They do. They feel like boxes. Who cares if they're actually boxes? So this is such a beautiful friggin' website. So then here, for example, you would have box, right, on the left. Then you would have like an empty box on the right, and you'd have your background image. I swear this globe used to spin. What happened? Oh, maybe it doesn't work on Windows. And then you'd have 4 boxes down here. It feels good to me. I don't know. I don't know if it feels good to you guys, but it feels really good to me. And then you just center them, right? So then you just center everything. But then everything has padding around it, right? And the only time it doesn't have padding, right, like here, is when it's like its own type of content, when it's like a different type of media, right? So it's an embed, or it's an image, or it's an SVG, or whatever. Then you don't need to have the padding around it. Yeah. I really think the Stripe homepage would be better without this thing overlapping the text here. I think if they made this text on top of it, it would just look so much better. But that's just me. Okay. Oops. I didn't mean to close the most beautiful homepage in the world. Yeah, and then we can have... Okay, so yeah, so the question is, can we do stuff like this, where we expand to the full width? And I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. I guess no. I guess the answer is no. Well, I think it's a good question, right? Can you do a layout like this even? Where you have the full width? Or, I mean, this is kind of a box, right? So you would just put a box and then next to an empty box. And this would work, right? So you could do this top level layout. But you with the boxes... Well, I guess you could use a large rectangle with the auto-expanding width or what. I mean, like, you can have a full width box. So yeah, let's start writing these things down. So first of all, layout box is large. So these are... So we're going to say squares maintain aspect ratios. Okay, then we're going to have so we have rows, we have media boxes, we have this nav type thing. Nav, we're going to just say like slash text slash link. That's fine. Slash button. And we're gonna say like these have the height and width of buttons. And we're gonna say actually large buttons. Okay, so then we have squares, maintain aspect ratios, and these are used for all high level, or yeah, all high level, we're gonna say all page layout. Um, we're gonna say like besides, or let's not say all page layout. We're gonna say 90% of page layout. And we're gonna say like besides nav and full width rectangles. And I know you're thinking, where did these rectangles come from? We didn't have rectangles before. What are you doing? But I think so these would be boxes, right? So this would be box, 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 box. These would be boxes. Why do we need rectangles? Right? Why do we need rectangles? And I think it's for this kind of thing, right? Where we have a heading and a subheading to introduce a section, and we want those to be centered. So yeah, I think that's a really good reason for it. And then we can support stuff like this, right? Where we have maybe like a testimonial that we want to be full width, or just like a heading type thing, and then like a subheading type thing, right? And there's too much spacing here. I don't know why they put so much. I guess it's because they're separate. They don't feel separate. This feels related. This feels related, but too far away. Okay, but anyways. Start as many podcasts as you'd like. Okay, cool. This is a beautiful video container. It gets replaced with a YouTube. Yep. I knew it. Okay, cool. Publish your podcast everywhere. Yeah, so you can do stuff like this. Yeah, this is connected, but it feels so far away from it. Like, this feels too far from my perspective. Okay, cool. So yeah, then you can do stuff like this. They have nice buttons, nice simple buttons. I like this homepage. Yeah, let's not even get into this. I don't want to get into this at all. I'm just thinking about about landing pages. From a fucking pricing page. No thank you. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna have like, yeah, and also let's just say something about this. So we have squares, and these can be, they cannot be full width. They can be half width, oops, half width, or they can be quarter width. And then we have I'm gonna just call them large rectangles. I guess we can call them heading containers. Like, does it matter, does it not? Like, I feel like you capture intention so much with the way you name things. And limitation. It's so important. And I don't really see a lot of reason for having these rectangles. Oh, do we even need them? Look, Stripe doesn't even need them. Stripe doesn't need rectangles that go the full width. Oh, no, they do. They use one right here. They use a 3/4 one. What fucking bosses? Like, seriously, such a boss. Such a boss move to use a 3/4 length grid here. I don't know. It just feels cool. I don't know why it's such a boss move to do that, but it feels like it. But we're not gonna have that. We're not gonna allow that shit. You can just have full width large rectangle boxes. Full width, large, we're gonna call them heading containers. Large heading rectangles. Oh, the other thing is, we're gonna have impeccable typography, but we're also gonna have like beautiful buttons. Beautiful buttons. That's right. Because buttons matter so freaking much. I can't even tell you how. Oh, this is so nice. Oh, it doesn't tell you that it's copied though. Oh, that's a miss. But it is copied, I bet. Yeah, it is. But they don't tell you. They should have like a little alert or something, like a little thing that pops up. Oh, copied, you know? But anyways, get started. Oh, is my internet down? Am I even streaming anymore? Yeah, I am. Okay, cool. So yeah, I'm gonna go like right about now. But it was nice hanging out. It was nice. It was super nice actually brainstorming this. I really appreciate it if you stopped by, if you followed. Really, really appreciate it. So yeah, we have these large rectangles. And let's write really quick the responsive rules for the boxes, just like a basic outline. Sorry if you guys can't read this. Okay, so we have responsive rules for boxes. So 900 pixels and up. Oh, and we're gonna have, I guess, will we copy stripe? The thing is they break out of, do they break out of their box? They do on the right hand side, they break out of their box. But like here, they don't. Yeah, mostly they don't break out of the box. You know what? So we're gonna have, we're gonna just go with my intuition, which is we're gonna have a 1200 px I can see the nice thing about having a 1080 with container, because you don't have to have so much content, or you don't have to make things so large. But I think I'm gonna go with my intuition, which is we're gonna have a 1200 pixel container. 900 pixels and up is going to maintain the same layout, which is 4 quarter width boxes or 2 half width boxes stack next to each other. Okay, below 900 pixel width, we'll say based on viewport. Below 900 pixels, Jam Pony Express, thank you for joining. I really appreciate it. I'm about to shut down the stream, but I will be streaming again tomorrow around the same time, probably around 9:30 or 10 a.m. So below 900 pixels, we're gonna have, what did we have below 900 pixels? The half width boxes. Is that what we had? The half width boxes, or was it the quarter width boxes? what did we have for stripe? What do you stack first? They stack the quarter width boxes, but they are much freer, so they don't have they're not limited by boxes. We're limited by boxes. Because I made a stupid decision. Well, I think we can keep. Yeah, so they did it their way, but I think we're going to do it our way, which I think is below 9 pixels, half width boxes, stack on top of each other, and then below 600 pixels, quarter width boxes. I mean, they made their stylistic decision, which I think makes their page look a little thin at points, but it's probably not at a viewport width that matters that much, because no devices are that width. But anyways, we made our decision. Quarter width boxes stack on top of each other at this and they're equivalent choices, right? I mean, you either have the smaller boxes stack on top of each other, right, to save that width, or you have the larger boxes, and we're just having the larger boxes stack sooner. And I think it might actually need to be or 1000 pixels. I'm going to just put that in there just because we're working with the boxes. And we want them to have enough room. And we're going to say responsive rules for padding and typography. And these are all guesses, but full, we're going to say, like, I guess 900 pixels and above is going to be like full size typography with, I'm going to guess, 1.5 rem padding around all boxes and rectangles. Not sure if it's right, but whatever. And then below 900 pixels, smaller. Below 600 pixels, smaller. And we're gonna say minimum font size. I think we're gonna go with 16 pixels. It's just my gut because I think on the iPhone, if you put your cursor into a text box, like an input box, and the input box's text is less than 16 pixels, then the iPhone will zoom the screen in. And I would rather it stay full size. So I think what they're saying there is that the minimum readable size on a phone is 16 pixels. So please keep it at 16 pixels. If you don't, we'll resize the screen for you. So I would rather, behave and be polite.